where you could map out their training regime?
Oh, totally. I mean, yeah, you could definitely do that now. You have tons of online courses. Learn Squared is a big one. Gnomon Workshop has a ton. And then you have Gumroad, which is a super affordable platform for people to sell, $5 tutorials that can teach you, one of the industry professionals' whole workflow.
I know, isn't it crazy? It's selling for like $2.
It's
like,
great.
Seriously?
Yeah, it's fantastic. And I think learning like that is great if you want to get into the industry, but I think there's more you have to do to get kind of a well-rounded education. That's the thing, because if you just want to get into the industry, that's your only goal, you can bypass so many things and do it really quickly. And I think a year, for someone who knows some 3D and Photoshop, you could probably figure out how to take all the techniques people have learned online and start working as a freelancer in a year. I think if you devote yourself easily, you can do that. But to make yourself, to have a full education on art history, and I think learning math and science and other different disciplines is also really important. I think as concept artists, every part of the world comes and influences what we do. You have times where you need to incorporate engineering into your work, incorporating future technology, current technology, past technology. And I think learning about all those different things can only make your work better, but is sometimes necessary for your job. You don't want to ever have to be in a situation where everybody around you knows about all these different disciplines, but you're the only person that has to do the research. You want to have some background in other areas. That's at least my opinion. And I really admire people who go on to, even as they're working, take classes and learn more about other things, because like I said, it can be an industry where things will be recycled a lot, and you want to be the person that brings something rather than just taking what someone else did and rebranding it. You want to be someone that adds something to the industry and really inspires people and gets something that will have an impact and not necessarily be known, but at least providing something different that's not already going around and being recycled tons of times.
Right.
You have to research a lot of different information from different sources. Traveling is one way, taking classes, or just learning about different walks of life and different people.
I'm curious, a lot of people are worried about automation, or technology's changing.
Yeah.
And I wondered, from your point of view as a concept artist, is there anything you could foresee in the next 5 to 10 years changing the way you work?
There's technology coming out all the time, whether it's programs or new ways to work. I think one of them is virtual reality. And we're seeing, obviously in LA, there's a huge amount of people and hype surrounding VR. And I think it's very well deserved. I think, got introduced towards concept design in VR through an artist, John Majurbev, who I also look up to a lot. He's an amazing person. And I have to admit, at first I wasn't sure if it was applicable yet, if the technology was there. But as soon as I tried it in person, I actually put on an Oculus and tried sculpting in VR, I knew that this could be a great workflow. It could be something that I could incorporate seamlessly into concept art workflow very easily. And since then, I've used it for tons of projects. I've used it at work. I know friends who use it everywhere. It's becoming, I wouldn't say it's an industry standard yet at all, but it's a tool that is definitely ready for us to use in production. Yeah, we're already using it for all sorts of
stuff. So you're using VR, we spoke about it a little bit before.
Yeah.
So you're using VR. Explain how you're using VR.
Yeah, so one of the great things about VR is that you can put yourself in your design. And I think that's, to me, the most important thing, is that it's so immersive that you know what it's like to walk around a building as you're designing it. Or maybe you're sculpting a character, and you can put this person in front of you, and you can flip it around, you can make it huge, larger than life, and walk around it. It's something where you're so immersed, you feel like you're in the final design itself. You can see it from all angles, and
right. So if you're making a giant, you can like blow it up to how it would actually feel to be the character.
And if you're like making a vehicle and you're sitting in the cockpit of the vehicle, you can sculpt all the controls right in front of you. Obviously, that's super important for film because if you're making a set, you need to design something for the actors to be able to use it. If you're making like a weapon in real life, if you're doing it 2D, you don't necessarily get the feeling of being able to use it or hold it. But in VR, you can put it right in front of you and orbit around it and actually put it in your hands and feel how it would look like if you're actually moving around a set. For me, being more of an environment designer, the best thing is being able to walk around something that I build. If I know actors are going to be in a set that gets built, I can design it so that it feels immersive to them when they're actually walking around in it. And I think that's very different from, say, sculpting something in a normal program where you're not in it because you're looking at it from a much different perspective. You can't look around and feel like you're inside of something. But when you're in VR, the technology is there where you feel like you're part of the world. And there's all these new programs being developed now. It's very exciting. You can now do like a lot of good hard surface sculpting in there.
What are some software you use for VR?
These days I'm using, Oculus Medium is probably the one I use the most.
And that's for painting?
Yes, it's different for sculpting still. But the cool thing is that you could paint something 2D and any like 2D work you do will automatically be geometry just by default. So then you can rotate around it. Like say you're doing a thumbnail sketch, anything you do just becomes an asset you can use in your project down the line. So yes, I use Medium, I use Gravity Sketch, which is another great one. I've used a program called Codon as well, that was recommended by a friend.
And what do these do? Gravity Sketch?
Gravity Sketch, the great thing about that tool is that you're very precise in it. You can control splines, which is something that Medium doesn't have right now, where you can draw a very precise line and do like automotive design and have these really beautiful sweeping forms that are connected by tension or by a really nice curve that's very, very controlled and precise. You can change where all the points are, you can keep editing it like in a 3D software. Medium, I really like that just because of how free it feels. It's voxel based, and it just the way you can add like kit bash stamps and kit bash different sorts of pieces together in it feels like you can get a lot of detail and a lot of parts done very quickly. Like I can sketch in Medium.
Oculus Medium?
Oculus Medium.
Sure.
A vehicle design way faster than I could, say, build or draw it in real life. Yeah, like I can sketch in that program faster than I could, say, model it in Cinema 4D, which is where I'd usually do it. And obviously you need to refine it after that, but to get a sketch in, it's one of the best programs, and I always use it. I use it pretty much every day now.
No way.
Yeah, it's
Have you got an Oculus at home?
I do, yeah. I bring it back and forth between work and home. Yeah, and it definitely feels like we're in the future. It's crazy. Like seeing this being used in production right now and knowing that it's only going to get better. Like we're just seeing the start of something that I think is going to be insane. Like everybody will be doing it, a few years from now.
Gosh.
It's I hope. I think it's really cool. But I know some people are against it.
Really?
I can see why some people are against it, honestly. There's some designers who need to be very, very precise. And I think that level is a little bit hard to get right now. Like the detail you can get is, you can get pretty close, but you can't, say, do a chamfer or bevel edge yet in some of these programs. I think for a lot of designers, that's a necessity, and I totally understand why. But for what I do, which is, I do some hard service with mostly organic stuff, it's perfect. Like I can
Quien esté viendo, estoy revisando cómo crashea. Desde la mañana estaba utilizando la versión experimental 291 y estoy viendo que cuando hay una textura procedimental corriendo en animación, selecciono un nuevo objeto y lo intento eliminar, y ahí es cuando crashea. Y es una escena que está arrancando casi instantáneamente, ¿no? No es una cuestión de que esté pesado, solo debe haber un error ahí en cómo está queriendo eliminar el objeto. Porque, por ejemplo, si paro la animación, selecciono otro objeto y lo intento eliminar, no hay problema.
I think the preferred method right now is probably sitting down, because if you're in this thing for like 8 hours a day, you can't stand for that long, at least I can't. So it's definitely tough to last that long in it.
Órale. Estoy viendo que es el prompt de delete. Ni siquiera es sensible al contexto. O sea, no solo se traba en object mode, sino también en edit mode.
And giving some feedback. I know other people are in touch, just trying to help improve how these could be useful for artists in the production world. So I know over the next 2 years it's going to blow up and be something much larger than it is right now. And definitely recommend any artists out there to try it, at least go somewhere to try it, because you never know how it's going to change how you design. For me, it made me think of forms and ideas that I probably wouldn't have had if I was doing something 2D. And I learned 3D before I started painting a long time ago.
No way.
Yeah, I started out as a 3D artist.
Using what?
Cinema 4D was the first one. Like if I'm talking about professional work, always I've been drawing, but if I'm talking about what I focused on first to really get good at, it was 3D work.
So what got you into Cinema 4D?
Man, it's a weird background, but people used to do all this abstract art in Cinema 4D. Like,
oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, like a long time ago, and extruded text and like all these, funny, cool abstract images, and I really fell in love in that area as a kid, and so that's kind of how I picked it up. But eventually I realized you could do spaceships and all these other cool sci-fi things, and then I just went crazy with it. And that's the main thing I picked up first. That was like even before I got to Art Center, before I really fell into painting. There's something different about the VR space where you have so much fun doing it. It's like a game in itself, but you're making something that you can use, for your project, for someone else's project. It definitely has had a big impact on me.
Yeah.
And whenever I do take off to go travel, I'm bringing the headset with me for sure. Yeah, definitely. I'll bring that thing anywhere.
Is there a new one coming out?
I've heard rumors about a new one. Yeah, I think there's a mobile one for sure. They've been
with no.
no cord.
Yeah.
I've heard rumors about one where you don't have like joysticks anymore. I don't know how that's gonna work. Like you're not holding on to anything. You're just using your hands.
Oh, good luck with that.
Yeah, I have no idea how this would work, but I'm sure people are developing some pretty crazy technologies that we're not aware of. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that in the future.
So I gotta get it. Okay, so Oculus Medium, Gravity Sketch, those two.
Yeah, those two are probably the ones that I use the most.
Yeah. Is ZBrush working on anything?
I have no idea. That'd be great if they were. That'd be fantastic. I'd definitely use a ZBrush in VR if they have it.
What I do.
Yeah, because I think we haven't really seen right now a major software developer go full into that space with the program. So I'm hoping one of the major ones will get in the develop something if they're not already getting it ready.
Yeah, it's probably likely they'll also just buy out a startup. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Wow, this is exciting. I really want to. Yeah, it's funny. I can't remember who it was we were talking to. Who we were interviewing the other day? Somebody was saying VR. It's like, we shouldn't.
I know a couple people personally who are against it, and there's totally legitimate reasons. Some people don't see it useful in their production workflow, and I can see that there's a lot of artists I could name that it would be tough for them to integrate it because they can't get it detailed and refined yet. And it's not their fault, the industry will come up and meet their expectations eventually. I don't think it'll be that hard for them to implement a new program to deal with people that need that precision level. But the fact that it's already being used in major movies, I think is good enough to show that it's going to be something that we'll be working with in the future. Yeah. Or at least if not, then it'll be developed into something. It'll be incorporated somehow because it's so intuitive, it's so immersive. You can't really get that sort of gesture, like I can use my entire body to sculpt something. Like I can start like 5 feet away to my left and finish a line like 5 feet away to my right and get this huge, beautiful line that I would never be able to, sculpt just by dragging points on my PC. So you can get a lot of different sort of more natural lines and more natural feelings to your designs by sculpting this way. Yeah.
Ooh. The future's already here.
Yeah, it is.
Not only is it already here, it's already been happening.
Player One or something like everybody's losing their minds. Yeah, and just staying in there forever. I mean, I didn't want to come out of it my first day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, totally. So.
Dude, I'm sold. I gotta adopt it.
Yeah, I think it'll be great.
Yeah. You had a great run at school, getting colleges and things like that. When someone asks you today if they need to go to art school or some form of uni, what would you say?
I would say if you need to, no. There's reasons why you as a person might want to go to one more than other people. You know, everybody's different. Some people need that community around them to push them to learn more. And for those sort of people who feel like they want to be surrounded by other people every day, have other people push them, have people they can rely on, I say it's great to go to school. I definitely don't think you need to go to a degree school if you want to go to pursue concept art.
A degree
there is
school?
A degree school, yeah, because they will charge so much money. It's ridiculous, and you just don't need to pay that much. You don't, well, see, I don't need a degree for what I do, but some people who say would want to live in the United States from other countries, if they wanted to do that, if they want to emigrate here, they would need the degree for sure. Yeah, so I would say if you're in the US or if you're in another country and you don't want to come to the US, then I would not recommend getting a degree. I would just say learn what you can online. If your only goal is to just get into the industry, then learn what you can online. Everything is available to you. It's perfect. People, 10, 15 years ago did not have the resources we have today. And with Gumroad, all these schools we've talked about just have pretty much everything at your fingertips. And, the other thing is maybe you want a fuller education than just learning concept art. There's so much more to what we do than just the stuff we see on ArtStation and all these other sites. So for people like that, I'd recommend, you could go to liberal arts school and learn more than just the techniques and just the foundation, because everything will in the end influence you as a person and make your art richer in the end and have more of a realistic feeling to it if you know more about the world in general. Yeah. So I definitely say it's not required these days, but it could help. Definitely.
Yeah. Is the concept art world quite competitive?
Yeah, I would say it is. Yeah. I think from a lot of people who are starting out, it seems almost impossible to get a job. Like a lot of people think that, man, there's nothing available. I'm competing with all these amazing people. I definitely felt like that. I didn't think things would progress how they have. But what I learned is that, just through some hard work, if I can do it in a couple of years, and I definitely wasn't dedicated throughout all that time. Anybody can do it. If you have the dedication and if you really want it, you can do it for sure. There are a lot of companies who just don't know where to find people still. Like, I've had to refer companies to a lot of artists just to, they would just say, hey, do you know any artists? And it always astonishes me because, you have all these platforms online to find people, but there are a ton of jobs out there that need to be filled that don't have any applicants or anybody. Like, it can be hard for these companies to find people, basically. And
they don't know about ArtStation.
Yeah, they don't know about ArtStation. They will search concept artists online, and I don't know, but they just don't find people.
There's often some people just don't reply.
Yeah, that too.
We found that at Polygon, we go on ArtStation and we find these great 3D modelers or a great concept artist, and they're interested in a job.
Yeah.
And then we realize...
And they're looking for work too, and they still...
Well, no. Well, that's the thing. So it's...
So they might already have a job, and they're just it's kind of rude for them not to reply, but yeah.
Right.
But yeah, it's definitely doable. It's competitive in the way that the industry is always improving. So everybody's always learning new things. If you look at the art, just progressed over the years. So many more techniques are incorporated today. You have to basically know 3D for most jobs. And those aspects, because of those aspects, you need to become learning constantly, which hopefully to most people is fun. To me, it's fun. To other people, some people they don't want to spend as much time learning. They want to just know what they do the best and just keep doing that. That's okay too.